Okay, so for tonight, we are continuing with our quest to find out, is Judaism actually sexist? Is the Torah actually sexist? Is God sexist? Are the rabbis sexist? Is halacha sexist? So we spoke a little bit, last time we spoke about wearing tefillin, and we spoke about learning Talmud. By the way, after I was about wearing tefillin, I saw like a little bit of context about the question. I saw an interesting person that misunderstood the text that we brought. We brought the text that it says that from Talmud Yonasan ben Uziel, it says the reason why a woman is not allowed to wear tefillin is because it's called lo yilbash. It's called the cross-dressing. That it says in the Torah, lo yilbash isha, lo yilbash gever kli isha, v'lo tilbash isha kli gever, lo yil kli gever al isha. That a woman is not allowed to wear men's clothing, and that the Targum Yonasan says that it's referring to tefillin because tefillin is a men's mitzvah. So we explained why that's a men's mitzvah and why that's a men's clothing, and so I saw some rabbi thought that, well, if the whole problem is cross-dressing, so a girl's allowed to cross-dress if she's in her own house, right? There's no prohibition to dress like a man if you're just staying in the bathroom, right? So that's what he claimed. That's what he assumed, and that's what he said. And that because of this, he said. So then, if that's the case, then of course it's okay to wear tefillin if you're in the privacy of your own home. And that is a simply misunderstanding of what Targum Yonasan means. He doesn't mean that it's actually a men's clothing and it's the exact same prohibition as the regular prohibition of wearing men's clothing. What it means is that it's a different way of going against this halacha. That there's one kind of lo yilbash. There's one problem of cross-dressing, which is a problem that of just wearing, I don't know, what would be a good usually it's about.
I'm wearing
it's
my
about
dad's
jeans.
sweater right now.
Yeah, but it's okay. It's unisex. But if you'd be wearing something, if you'd be wearing a fake mustache, that's in order to get into the men's bar. I don't know. That's cross-dressing. It says in the postscript the reason why the prohibition of cross-dressing is because we're scared that you're going to try to want to get into the women's bathroom, etc., or vice versa. And so, when the Targum Yonasan says that this is considered cross-dressing, it means it's a new kind of cross-dressing. It means that this is essentially you're wearing something that you're not supposed to be wearing. It doesn't mean that it has the same guidelines. It doesn't have the same reason. It doesn't have the same rationale. That the rationale of the regular reason why you're not allowed to pretend that you're a man is because you're going to try to do something because of the fact that you're a man. That doesn't apply when you're a girl who's wearing tefillin. You still look like a girl. It doesn't help. It doesn't hide. It doesn't make you look more boyish. The fact that you're wearing tefillin. When the Targum Yonasan says that it's considered that you're wearing boys' clothing, it means that this is an essential problem, not that it has the same guidelines. So it's not a reason to be lenient because you're in the privacy of your own home. Anyway. So now, for today's class, I want to give. I think it's going to be 2 more classes on this. For today's class, I want to speak about how the Torah looks at women regarding the synagogue, like how they are in shul, and why we can call this class that why is the women's section always so pathetic, okay? And that's right, and that's like everything regarding the shul. And if we have time, so I would like to also speak about a certain asymmetry with marriage, with why is it that the man gives the ring to the woman, why the polygamy, the Aguna crisis, and similarly with regarding to inheritance. Why is it that women don't inherit land? Okay, that's what we're going to do for today's class. And for next class, I would like to speak about the concept of that many women look at the concept of modesty, of tzniut, as something which is oppressive, as something which is meant to push women into a corner, and I think I don't know where it comes from exactly, but there's certainly this is an idea that exists that a woman has a right to dress however she wants, and how dare the rabbis tell her that she isn't allowed to, and things like that regarding regarding Kol Isha, regarding things like that, their ability to express themselves and things like that. So anyway, so let's begin. So
This Sunday you're going to speak
no,
about?
this is next Tuesday, hopefully.
Okay.
So stay tuned. So first, so regarding the synagogue, so it's very clear to a lot of people that the shul is not symmetrical, and there's a focus on the men more than there is on the women, and that would lead people to think that Judaism is sexist, that Judaism is a men's religion, and it's not really meant for women, that if you're going to women, you're not really going to be part of the Jewish scene. So I think that this idea comes from a certain ignorance about Judaism, and that is that Judaism is in the shul. Okay? That for a lot of people, unfortunately, so their Judaism is when they're in shul, then they're Jewish, and when they're not in shul, so then they're just regular Americans. And so if that's your experience, if that's the way you live life, then when you're in shul, then you're Jewish, and in shul, so it's all men, so then Judaism is all men. Okay? Then that will give you the impression that Judaism is patriarchal. And I just want to start as an intro by saying that's absolutely not the case. It's absolutely not the case. That Judaism is not only a shul. Shul is a very, very small amount of Jewish life. That Judaism is something that takes up every single fiber of our existence. Judaism is something that takes care of every moment of our lives. That from the time that we wake up in the morning, there's halachas of how to wake up, there's halachas of how to use the restroom, there's halachas of how to get dressed, there's halachas of what kind of occupations to have, there's a million laws of what to do when we're at work, there's a million laws of what to do when you're at home, there's a million laws of how to raise your children, of how to treat your wife, how to treat your husband. That the Judaism is completely immersive, and how you daven, that's really just one small detail of Jewish life, and it's very much not the idea of Judaism that when you're at shul, then you're being Jewish, and so for a person that when they're home they are just a regular American, and the only time that they act Jewish is when they go to shul, so then they might get the impression that Judaism is patriarchal in the fact that the women aren't given so much of a presence in the shul, and so even if it would be that the shul is patriarchal, which is not, so that is actually not a good way to judge Judaism / halacha / God. Okay, so it doesn't. That's not a reason to be turned off from Judaism, because shul is really not so big a part of Jewish life. Okay, so now where do we find that there's what you call it, that there's somewhat of a patriarchy. So first of all the mechitza, so that the women are pushed to the back. Okay, so now I heard that there was an archaeologist that wanted to claim that mechitza is a new invention, that they used to have mixed davening because they dug up many ancient synagogues and there was no mechitza. And so what he didn't realize is that back in the day there was no need for a mechitza because women didn't know how to read and women didn't go to shul, and there was not one woman like nowadays, like even in the Haredi places you have the bubbies that they come to shul, but there was no such thing there was no such thing as a woman in shul, so that's why there was no need for a mechitza. So many people they find that the fact that there's mechitza, that it pushes them away from the spotlight. Go, you're second class, and so now there's actually no reason. There's actually no reason for the mechitza to be looked at as a second class. Now, in a show where I daven, called Vani Tefillah, that they, which although many people might think it's liberal, but I've seen Rav Moshe Weinberger daven there, and he's very holy and very Haredi. So they do a very good thing, and that is that the mechitza is in the middle. Instead of being front and back, so it's side to side. And I've seen this in other shows as well. And so the purpose of the mechitza is to separate. The purpose of the mechitza is not to push girls away. The purpose of the mechitza is simply that they shouldn't be together. And here I want to get on something that we're going to speak about more next week, and that is that Judaism does idealize having boys and girls separate. And that's not something we're embarrassed about. That's not something we have to be apologetic about. That halacha and Judaism idealizes a separate society, not a co-ed society. Okay, and so for some reason, when women are told that the women are supposed to be there, so they assume that means that we're being ostracized and we're being suppressed and we're being pushed away, and the mere fact that you're being separated, so that doesn't mean that you're second best. It just means that boys and girls are not the same, and we should be separate. Like, it's really like, like milchiks and fleishiks. Does milchiks feel oppressed because we separate the milchiks from the fleishiks? It's like, you can decide yourself who is the milchiks and who is the fleishiks in this metaphor, but just the fact that something is supposed to be separate doesn't mean that one is greater than the other. Now, so the mere fact that there's mechitza, there is no reason to feel suppression, and unfortunately, because now there is a historical context of this, that because it used to be that there was no such thing as women coming to shul, so then once upon a time, I don't know the exact details about the exact when it started, but at some point, so some people started coming to shul, and so they said, okay, so you can stay in the back, and then at some point they said, okay, well, it's enough people that we need a whole room for you, and then they made the whole room in the back, and like I've heard about shows that they have like it's actually like it's a separate room, and they have like a hole in the room. Anyway, so they made a back room with a hole that you can see a little bit, and then they decided, okay, maybe we'll make it a balcony, and maybe we'll make it the back of the show, and so because this was something that didn't exist 2,000 years ago, so it was an evolution, and there's absolutely no reason whatsoever, no halakhic reason, no ideological reason, no hashkafic reason that women should be in the back, that it's totally ideal for the women to be up front, and just to make them up front. You just need to make the mechitza side by side,
So how did they pray before?
which is not a big deal.
They prayed in their homes
They didn't
before?
know how to daven, they were illiterate. Okay, so it wasn't a thing. Okay, they would daven from their hearts, is what you're supposed to do. Okay, so they wouldn't come to shul. So it's absolutely ideal. If I was going to make a shul, I would make the mechitza down the middle, in order that the women should.
Where would you put the mechitza?
Well, over here they have a big beam in the middle. I would get rid of the beam in the middle, and I would make mechitza down the middle. Yeah,
You should be an architect.
I should be an architect. Okay.
It's a good mold.
Okay, so that it's really not difficult, and in Bani Tefillah, what they do is something very beautiful. That the Aron Kodesh is actually in the middle.
How does that work?
The Aron Kodesh is in the middle, so the women don't feel that they're further from the Aron Kodesh than the man, and not only that, but the Chazan is in the middle. That the Chazan is mamish in the middle, so then they don't feel like they're actually less part of the services. That they're seeing what's going on as much as the men are seeing what's going on. It's not that they're bystanders from a second class kind of seat. And Nachlot, what Bani Tefillah. Okay, so that's the actual architecture of the show. So that's something that there is absolutely no reason in halacha that it shouldn't be. There's a hashkafa reason that it should be, that the women are just in the back, that the women are like people have said, like Judaism is sexist because the women's section is always dirty. Like that has nothing to do with halacha, nothing to do with God. There's nothing to do with anything. Maybe the cleaner is sexist. That's what. But like, don't blame Hashem for the fact that the women that's something to talk to the rabbi, and it should be taken care of. And like I'm saying, if I would be rabbi of a shul, I would totally make it that there's enough room. Like when I made a minyan on my roof during Corona, that the women felt very much a part of it. I think there was even a bigger women's section than the men's section. And anyway, so it's really nothing that the mechitza has nothing to do with halacha. let's move on to something which is a halachic thing, and that is having a women chazan. Okay, can you have a woman chazan? No, you cannot have a woman. I don't want any reform website to take a clip from my video and say, like, you see, even Rabbi Goldstein is like, no, what?
There are conservative chazan.
No, I don't want anybody to misquote me and think that just because I discussed it in a class means that I'm for it. That it's absolutely against halacha for there to be a woman chazan. But does that prove that Judaism is patriarchal? Is the reason why you can only have a man chazan? I'm sorry?
What is the reason why? Is it Kalisha?
I'm about to tell you. So is the reason for why a woman can't be a chazan, is that because the Torah thinks that women are second class? Or perhaps even though women are first class, or even is first class the best?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so scratch that. That business class, I was going to say, but yeah, women are even business class. But there's a technical reason. Okay, what is the technical reason? So the reason why women can't be a chazan is actually not because women can't be part of Jewish life, but rather that what does it actually mean to be a chazan? So there's certain parts of davening that even though you could be a chazan, but you're not actually doing anything. Okay. The example for that would be the chazan for Pesukei Zimra. The chazan for Pesukei Zimra is not really doing anything. He's just standing there. He's just a puppet. If somebody would be given the honor of being the chazan for Pesukei Zimra, it's actually not an honor. He's not really accomplishing anything. The same thing, like when I was a kid. So I was always the chazan for the end of davening for Anim Zmiris. So like that was the thing that they would give a kid to be the chazan for Anis Miras. So the Anis Miras is not really a part of davening. So you're not really being a chazan. So those parts of davening isn't really so yes, theoretically a woman could be a chazan for Pesukei Zimra, a woman could be a chazan for Pesukei Zimra, because for Anis Miras, because they're not really doing anything. But the real chazan, the real idea of being a chazan is for two things. Number one, for Kaddish and Baruch Hu, and number two, for the repetition of Shemona Esrei with the Chazar Shashatz. Okay, so now, what's special about these three things? Kaddish, Baruch Hu, and Chazar Shashatz. What's special about these three things is that they are halachically determined. They are classified as Dvarim Shebekdusha. At Dvarim Shebekdusha, the halacha is you can only do it when you have a minyan. Okay, so anything that you can only do when you have a minyan. So meaning that if there's no minyan, then you can daven, but you're not davening with a minyan. You're davening. Everybody's on their own, and because you're on your own, so you can't say Kaddish, you can't say Baruch Hu, and you can't have the repetition of the Shemona Esrei. You also can't have Kriyas Torah, but we'll speak about Kriyas Torah separately. So these are the parts of davening that actually the chazan is actually accomplishing something halachically. So then the question is that what exactly is special about the fact that we're doing something with 10? So when we're doing something with 10, and like I said, the word for this is called Dvarim Shebekdusha, that the holy things, which is just a metaphor, it's just a word, it's a terminology. The holy things is the things that you can only have when you have 10 people, when you have 10 men specifically. So then the person that is saying Kaddish or saying Baruch Hu or saying the repetition, so he's actually, it's only through him that the other 9 people, are fulfilling their mitzvah of saying Kaddish or saying Baruch Hu or having the repetition of the Shemona Esrei. Okay? So, because it's only because of him that they are fulfilling their mitzvah, so then we need to ask ourselves that who is the person who's leading? Are they obligated in these things or not? Okay, this is a basic halachic concept called Hamechuyev b'davar Motzi Asacherem Yidei Chavasim. Anybody who's obligated in something can be mitzi, can help somebody else fulfill their obligation. That the word yotze is, I heard this funny story. It's a true story. It's actually a true story. That The word maitzi and yaitze means that in our context it means to be maitzi means that I'm helping you fulfill your obligation. To be yaitze means to fulfill your obligation. Okay, but in Hebrew, so the word motzi means I'll take you out, and yotze means leave. So I heard from this guy that organizes the Shabbatons for secular Mechinot K'tam Tvayot that once there was a story that for some reason the host didn't understand that the kids were secular and they didn't know a thing about halacha, and the host was trying to be nice and he was trying to give this Mechina guy the opportunity to say Kiddush by himself. So he said, I forgot the beginning of the story, that the Madrich found this guy in this place that they were supposed to be, that they were sleeping. So what are you doing? Why aren't you at the meal? So he says, that's the craziest thing. I have no idea why, but I sat down and we said Shalom Aleichem, and then he's about to say Kiddush. Then he looks me in the eyes and he says, אתה רוצה שאני אוציא אותך? או אתה יוצא לבד? Meaning he wanted to say that, should I say Kiddush for you? Should I have you in mind? Or do you want to make your own Kiddush? But because he didn't understand halacha sprach, so he thought he was in modern Hebrew. That means, do you want me to take you out? Or are you going to leave yourself? So I left. So he was running after me. No, don't run after me. Don't. Okay, so if I'm obligated in something, then I can be made to you. Then I can help you fulfill your obligation. If I'm obligated in something, then I can't help you fulfill your obligation. So now everybody knows that men are obligated to daven with a minyan, and women are not obligated to daven with a minyan. Okay, so this whole concept of Darash B'Kedusha, it's only for men, it's not for women. What's the source of that? The source of that is that we learn out for Darash B'Kedusha is similar to the Miraglim. That the Miraglim set the precedent for Darash B'Kedusha because it says Eda by Miraglim, and it says V'Kdashi B'Seich Adas B'nai Yisrael, uses the word Eda, and the Gemara Sanhedrin learns out that we learn who is considered V'Kdash to B'Seich B'nai Yisrael from the Meraglim. Okay, so the Meraglim were Jews. That it's only considered Kiddush Hashem in front of 10 Jews, and it's also you need men. Also, there's a very interesting tshuva from Moshe Feinstein that people don't know that he says that you're allowed to count a person who's completely secular to a minyan. And he proves it from the fact that we learn who counts for minyan from the Meraglim. And the Meraglim, it says that the Meraglim were a little bit heretical, because the Meraglim, they said that ki chazak hu mimenu, that they thought that the Canaanites were stronger than Hashem. So it says that at that moment that they were being heretical, because there's an opinion that because of that he lost the share in the world to come, and yet we learn that those are the people that count for minyan. So there's a halacha l'maaseh that a person doesn't count for the person that's completely secular, atheist. That's the first time he's ever found out he's Jewish. You bring him to shul, he could be the 10th guy. Okay, and so some people, whatever. It's a halacha conversation, but Ramesha is obviously correct, as always. Us Americans, we have to stand up for Ramesha. So it says that the Meraglim were men and the Meraglim were not women. So we learn from there that women don't count for a minyan. Women aren't obligated in the minyan. So because they aren't obligated in the minyan, so anything that needs a minyan, so women can't help the men fulfill their mitzvah. Okay, so this is a very simple technical problem. That is the reason why women can't be a chazan is not because of Kol Isha per se. There's plenty of men that don't sing, don't sing the davening, and that's okay. Even though I've heard that the women sometimes have problems with the men that don't sing enough, and the reason why a woman can be chazan is not because they're second class. It's not because the tefillah is not as holy as the men's tefillah. It's simply because they're not obligated to daven with a minyan, which is if I may say so, you're better off that way. That it's like a friend of mine told me that like he was once like 12:30 in the morning, like he remembered that he forgot to daven, and so he got dressed and he went to shul, and his daughter was there, and she said, "Wow, Abba, I'm so happy I'm not a man." And so it's okay that you shouldn't feel that the fact that you don't have to daven with a minyan is a nice thing. Now I once heard something from Rav Schechter that actually the whole reason why men are obligated in davening with a minyan as opposed to women is not because women, like the real davening is with a minyan, but rather that women, because they have their innate connection with God, they don't need the minyan to be mechazik them. They don't need the inspiration from everybody else. Whereas the men, so they need this physical connection. They need the space of the community in order to get them into the zone. And women don't need that. They have a close enough connection with Hashem, davening by themselves. Okay, that's not to say the women shouldn't be davening in shul. That's not to say the women won't be inspired by coming to shul. It just means that they're not obligated. I try to get my kids, my daughters, to Kaddish shul. It's not that women shouldn't be going to shul. I think the girls should be going to shul. I think it's weird that girls are taught that they shouldn't be going to shul, and I don't force my daughters to go to shul. Like I just try not to force as much as possible, and my kids in general, not to force things that aren't necessary. But it's totally a proper thing for girls to go to shul. But nevertheless, they aren't obligated, and because they aren't obligated, that's simply the technical reason why they aren't able to be chazan. Okay. Now, when it comes to Kaddish, so it gets a little bit more complicated, and this is another time that the women sometimes feel that they are oppressed by halacha, and the fact that halacha is sexist, and the fact that a woman that her father passes away or mother passes away, that her brothers are able to say Kaddish, Leila Nishmas, that as a way to raise the soul of the deceased, and they are not, and they feel left out, and they feel that this isn't fair. I also love my father, I also love my mother, I also want to be able to help them in the other world, and why is it that my brother is able to do this and I'm not? The question is even more acute when there's no brothers, and a woman is saying that my father was a pious man and he deserves everything that is possible, and just because he doesn't have any sons and he doesn't have any brothers and nobody's going to be saying Kaddish, even a brother doesn't really help the problem, because the brother's only saying for 30 days and you want to say Kaddish for a year. And so then the question then is that can a woman say Kaddish? Can a woman say Kaddish for her deceased parent or not? So what are the issues over here? So some bring up the question of Kolisha, and that's a mistake. Kolisha is simply a mistake because there's no need to do a Karlbach Kaddish when you're nobody that their parents passed away is doing any songs when they're saying Kaddish. You just say it, and so the voice that's used for Kaddish is simply a talking voice, not a singing voice, and there's no concept. There's no issue of Kolisha in the first place. That's simply a mistake. So, what are the issues? So first of all, there's a problem of new things in general. Okay, that there's many people, many shows, many communities, many rabbis that are just against new things, and women apparently never say Kaddish. It's not exactly true that they never say Kaddish. There are accounts in different shuvas about women saying Kaddish, and it wasn't a thing that didn't exist. But in general, to say it in shul is something that didn't exist. It's something that never existed, like I said before, because women simply didn't go to shul. So So there are those that think that we can't do new things. If you do new things, then you're the next thing. It's a slippery slope, and the next thing you know, you're not going to be keeping Shabbos. And that's old news. Now the Reform movement has evolved from not keeping Shabbos to not marrying Jewish. Okay, so it's a slippery slope, and you never know. So just keep on doing what you're doing. I saw that others say a correct point, and that is that concern that if you change anything, it's gonna people are gonna immediately think that so it's okay to be conservative. So the differences between Orthodox and conservative nowadays are so great that like the little things are the little things are less relevant. Like I once I once heard the story about a girl that was going out with a boy that was complaining about the fact that they're all dressed the same, that they're all that there's no expression, that they're all basically just carbon copies of each other, and so he told her, "Are you kidding? I'm so not like everybody else." And so she said, like, "What do you mean? Like, you literally look exactly like everybody else. I can't see any difference between your hat and everybody else's hat, your suit and everybody else's hat, your shirt. It's a uniform. It's mamash uniform. There's no, you're just like everybody else." And he said, "No, are you kidding? Look at my hat. Yeah. Do you notice that the brim, it's not down. It's up. It's up." Said, "Okay, yeah, you're right." Said, I'm a rebel. That's how, if the difference between Orthodox and conservative shul. So if you have an Orthodox shul that women can say Kaddish, so nobody's going to say, "Oh, that's a conservative shul because women say Kaddish." The differences between conservative shuls and Orthodox shuls are so great that that doesn't register. Okay, so I don't think that's so much of a concern. I mean, there could be for other things that would be concerned, but something which is like a small detail. So this is really not such a big deal. What is more of a concern is that what we said before, that for the same reason the woman can't be a chazan. So if the women aren't obligated in Devarim Shebukdusha, so they can't form a minyan, and Kaddish is something that can only be said with a minyan. So when you're inviting the man to say something which can only be said with a minyan, so that part of the Kaddish, you're actually being mitzi them. And like we said before, so you can't do that. So there's an interesting thing, and that is that Kaddish actually has a dual identity. And that is that on the one hand, there's something called saying Kaddish, and on the other hand, that by saying Kaddish, you're allowing everybody else to say what they say, and that is the part that we answer in Kaddish. Okay, what we answer Amen, and we answer Yehi Shmei Rabba. So this argument that you can't be a chazan because you're being mitzi, that's only regarding the things that you're inviting the man to answer. Okay, but there's also a different thing, and that is the fact that you're saying Kaddish. The reason why a mourner is saying Kaddish is because the fact that you're saying Kaddish is itself something which is a merit for the person who passed away. So even though there isn't the merit of the fact that you're allowing the men to say, so there is still the merit of saying for yourself, and that's why some poskim say that there's a difference between if you're the only woman or if there's also a man. So if you're the only woman, so then it's a problem, because simply not because that you can't say Kaddish, but simply because Kaddish is Davar Shebukdusha, and when the men are answering, they're only answering because of you, and they can't do that because you're not obligated in a minyan. So that would be a problem. However, if there's already a man saying and a woman wants to join, so there's no halachic problem with that. Okay, in Paiskim there.
What do you mean by join?
Join, to say out loud.
Oh, like with the minyan.
With the minyan.
Okay.
With the other person who's saying Kaddish.
Okay.
With the other person who's saying Kaddish.
All right.
So there is, and there is precedent for such a thing. There's different shuvas that talk about this. There's the shuvas from Shuvas Yaakov, there's shuvas from Chavas Yar, and they talk about that a woman could say Kaddish in her own home, that to bring a minyan to her home. And that, I think, that consideration that they can't say in shul, that was, like you said before, the more of a consideration of don't do something new because something new is going to be interpreted as being reform. But nowadays, like I said, I don't think that's our issue. If the women can say kaddish from the other side of the mechitza, etc. Okay, so bottom line was saying kaddish. Rav Schachter told people that it's not a halachic problem. You should do if there's a man saying kaddish, then it depends on the custom in the shul. That if it's a shul that doesn't, so don't be the only woman that does it. That's really like even though you have the best of intentions, but that's sticking out. That's making everybody's looking at you. Everybody's going to talk about you. Everybody's going to say about how you're such a feminist, how you're such a conservative reform, and it's like that's making a scene. That's making a scene. So even if you have the best of intentions, so it's not modest to make a scene. Okay. Like it's actually a Tzanua's problem. It's actually in a situation that you're making a scene, so it's not Tzanua to make a scene. So that's like that. Even though you don't mean it, but that's getting back to we spoke about in the previous class that I'm a woman, hear my roar. So even if you don't mean to say that, but in a situation that everybody's going to look at you, that whoa, look at this lioness. So that's not Tzanua because that's how it's being interpreted. But if it's in a shul that is more modern and it's more normal, and then there's no halachic problem with a woman saying kaddish as long as there is a man saying as well.
But why would it be a problem in, like, let's say, a shul where it would be an issue? Like you're saying, like
if it's in a shul that is unheard of because of their preconceived notions that they didn't hear this class, and they think that it's completely unorthodox to do such a thing. So then in that situation, by doing so, you're making a sin.
okay.
Okay?
It attracts attention. You have one lone voice coming out from behind the mechitza. You're like, who is talking?
If it's something which is not normal. If it's something which is
exactly.
normal, then they don't.
That's what
Right?
happens.
Exactly.
People get surprised.
Mhm.
when they start
Especially in this generation, where that could be very, very problematic. Just unfortunately, many guys.
It's not a question. It's not a question of generation. It's a question of community. Like if you're going to do this in Borough Park, so then everybody's going to look at you. They're not just look at you. They're probably going to beat you up. But if it's in a situation that it's normal, so then there's no halakhic problem. Okay. So and if you're making and this is relevant if you're making a new community. If you're making a new community with new norms, so that you can obviously take a vote, and there's no halachic problem if everybody is okay with it. So then, and which they should be, then it's totally fine. Next thing, which is a subcategory, is interesting. Is the subject of can you have a woman balkare, which obviously okay, Baruch after. So that can you have a woman balkare? So this is the question that the Gemara asks. That the Gemara asks, could you have a woman balkare? And the Gemara says that you cannot, but the Gemara Megillah says why you cannot, and that is that the reason why you can't have a woman balkare is only because of kvod hatzibur. It's because it's not the dignity of the community. It's not the dignity of the congregation to have a woman be the reading the Torah. So this is, first of all, that sounds very sexist, right? Okay. Actually, it doesn't. It's not very sexist because you have to take the Gemara in its context. The Gemara was written 2,000 years ago. 2,000 years ago, everyone agrees. There is no doubt. You can't change the facts. 2,000 years ago, women were not first-class citizens. They were absolutely in all cultures, and Judaism was affected by all cultures as well. So in every single culture in the world, a woman was not a first-class citizen. And that being said, so women were actually second-class citizens, and therefore, so to take a second-class citizen and have her reading Torah, that was not considered kavod for the tzibur. It was now considered kavod for the congregation. Now, the question is, why doesn't the Gemara say something more simple, and that is that she can't do it because she's being mitzi the people their obligation. Okay, the reason for this is something very interesting, and that is the very nature of the mitzvah of Kriyas Torah, and that is that the mitzvah of Kriyas Torah is not that you need to say you need to say the Kriyas Torah. You just need to hear it. You just need to be present in the Kriyas Torah. So because the mitzvah of Kriyas Torah is not that I need to say something, rather I just need to hear it. So the person who's laning is not actually being mitzi me, but rather he's just saying a Torah, and as long as it's considered Torah, I just need to hear it. Okay, so because Kriyas Torah is less of an obligation than, let's say, Kaddish or Baruch Hu or these other things, that over there he's helping me fulfill my obligation. He's doing his obligation for me. So that's why a woman theoretically would be able to be a Balkari. And the only reason why she can't is because it's not Kvod HaTzibur. It's not dignity to the obligation. Now the question is, in 2024, so have things changed? Are women considered first-class citizens in 2024? And
What about when they have women's congregations to read Megillah?
I didn't speak about Megillah yet. I'm talking about Kriyas Torah at this point. But what do you think? Do you believe the women are first-class citizens or second-class citizens?
Depends.
It depends on the woman.
I think it depends on the
Yeah.
community.
Yeah, yeah, it
How you're
depends
allowed
on
to
the
drive. The Mukhazir community aren't allowed to drive. That's been a second class citizen.
Okay, I mean,
They're not given the same rights.
Right. What about in regards of a woman not
But-
being able to be a witness in the
but
court?
that's not that's not a halacha. That's
I'm saying,
something
but the community makes her a second class citizen.
absolutely. Okay, I mean, I'm not actually. No,
I agree,
I take that back. I take that back. I don't necessarily think that women in Hasidic communities are second-class citizens.
But enough of them.
Okay, if
They might not feel like
we
it,
spoke
they're
about
not
this the
given
first
the same
class, that there's communities, the women, the only professional opportunities for them is to either be a teacher, to be a ganenet, or to sew,
That's not normal.
and that's not okay, right? So they should get with the program, and they should wake
So
up.
even if
And then,
Judaism itself is sexist, then there's a lot of Jews who are. I'm saying even this whole shul thing that you were talking about at the beginning, like the plenty of the, and it is the fact that the more Haredi you go, the smaller the shuls are, the way they have to go through the back, and like you are treated as like a citizen in the more Haredi environment.
okay,
Even if Judaism itself isn't, the Jews are.
the purpose of this class is to talk about the authentic Judaism. It's not to talk about communities, not to talk about individuals, and the fact that there are people that are sexist is a problem, but it's not. But it's not the purpose of this class. Like, I want to know: is Hashem sexist? Is halacha sexist?
No.
No.
No, right? You agree? No, you're not sure. Okay, which halacha bothers you?
I mean, from this class or in general?
No, in general.
I think even like, even you think about shul, like a shul's not necessarily like a place like that is Jewish, like it's just like the only Jewish thing, but like that's where people go to connect, and that's a way of connecting to Hashem. Like the fact that you are, I don't know. Even the whole witness thing, the fact that we're not allowed to be witness because doesn't know what it is.
We didn't speak about witnesses yet.
No, I'm saying I don't think innately is sexist, but I think there's definitely aspects of it where women are seen as like less, like are slightly inferior to men.
They shouldn't be. You should really listen to my to the
Yeah.
first two
No, like
classes.
I think
Yeah?
they're like I don't know. There's like not kind of like extremist views. Like women can't like show like have a picture of themselves or like
Okay,
speak publicly about.
that's more about next class. Right now,
That's
let's
crazy.
talk about shoals.
Sorry.
Okay, so regarding to
I think the shul thing is cultural. It depends on, it's not just your religious level, it depends on your location.
Agreed.
also.
Agreed.
Because you can see, if you go into
Mhm.
certain communities, what are the girls doing? It's not that they're being locked up at home. They say it's girls, they'd rather hang out with their friends than go to shul. You know? It's
Mhm.
social hour, that they're gonna go hang out with their friends and watch some of the kids.
Okay, but it could be that the
It's
fact
not that they're forbidden from
the
going to shul.
the question is, are they forbidden from going to shul? If there would be a girl that wants to come to shul, so
She's
is she welcome? If she's allowed, is she welcome?
She's welcome.
Is she going to be the only? Is she going to be told that she should?
The only shows that I've seen that don't have women's spaces are in caravans, and it's a money issue.
Okay.
It's not a religious issue.
Okay, sounds good.
Maybe it's a
I'm not
priority
talking about this in
issue.
the first two, but like Kol Isha, for example, Kol Isha like in here.
Kolisha is next class.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I have to come.
Okay, so back to
come
shul.
next class.
Back to shul. Okay, so the Gemara says the only reason why a woman can't be a balkare is only because of kvod tzibur. It's not because you're being mitzi, because you're not being mitzi anybody. And so that being said, so nowadays the women are considered first class citizens, except for in Borough Park. So where are you from?
Me, I'm from London.
London? Oh, where in London?
Hendon.
Hendon is not.
No, Hendon's decent, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So really, theoretically, halacha should change. Really, theoretically, the halacha should be the women are allowed to be balkarei, and the only reason why it's not is, like we said last time about being a woman rabbi, that this is something that having a woman balkarei is something which would totally be seemed conservative. It would be considered egalitarian, and because we don't want to give the impression that it's okay to be conservative, so because there's 1,000 other problems with being conservative, so that's really the only problem with having a woman balkarei. Okay, it's a social problem, not a halachic problem. So if the conservative movement would like to do tshuva, and I request, and all of you YouTubers that are watching this, if you're conservative, so please become Orthodox. I think it's really the best decision you'll ever make. And if the conservative movement will all become Orthodox, then we can have women balkaris. Okay, so
That will never happen.
Yeah, no.
We're never gonna have a shul and have a woman. It's not gonna never happen. What world?
well they said that about voting too, you know. Okay, so and last.
Being a balkarei, that means everyone would be violating kol isha yava.
No, it's not. You don't have to sing in a.
Maybe
In a
someone
way,
might get carried away.
Some people
Yeah.
say that even like hearing
Some-
a woman's voice in a public place is it's like some of the more like so like
Like,
so
so
that there's no way gonna have a woman standing
Some
up.
people say that if you're not wearing a burqa, it's not stance.
Exactly. So like
They're right.
Exactly.
So don't trust. So don't trust those people. Okay. Last question. Last question is what about Simchas Torah? What about Simchas Torah? Are we going to be sexist this
Oh.
Simchas
No, but
Torah?
some shows like they give women, they give it. Spoilers.
So not spoilers. Just let me teach. So the what?
I said, let the man teach.
Second classes.
So Simchas Torah, there's two questions. One of them is really a question. I'm not sure exactly where it comes from. The first question is that is there any reason why the women shouldn't be able to dance with the Sefer Torah? Okay, and then that really divides into a second question, and that is there any reason that for women to not dance in the first place? There are many communities. So the women on Simchas Torah, what they do is they watch the men dancing, and like
Tips.
I don't know, these like I'm not exactly sure how fun it could possibly be.
You should see
Being
some of
that-
these guys dancing.
Like these aren't like they're not. I don't know. I can't think of any famous dancer, but it's not like they go to school to do fancy dancing, and nobody's doing acrobatics, and they're not twisting 50 spins before they fall, and there's nothing so exciting about dancing. I'm not sure why exactly it's fun to watch the dancing, and so but in that you know that in like we're in Neve Yerushalayim, so they want the girls to be able to dance. And there's only in Har Nof, there's no places that they dance in the first place. So they send the girls all the way to Nachlaot just so that they'll be able to dance without a Sefer Torah, just to be able to dance. That's pathetic. That's messed up. Okay, that's why are girls not dancing? I call for change. Okay, that what?
You're being serious?
I'm being dead serious.
But
Why?
how do you know if they're
like,
dancing or not?
For,
If you're on the other side of the
Because you're
I-
like watching
I know
men like
from
Sims.
I know from the extracurricular director from the extracurricular woman in Neve that she's sending them an hour walk just to be able to dance. So that says to me,
Am I not?
am I not? Yeah.
Is there any place that women can dance instead of bring at the men?
They can't drop it in any.
It's just messed up. And it's just messed up to me. Maybe it comes from an idea that women aren't supposed to dance in the first place. That women aren't really supposed to. That women are just supposed to be suppressed. That we're not supposed to really move so much. the fact that they let us look at them, that's like we should be appreciative that they let us look at them. So, but to dance ourselves, whoa, me dance, whoa. So that's really a messed up ideology, and that needs to be fixed. And there's really bless you. There's no reason. Yeah, you're allowed to say bless you to a girl. So there's really no reason why they should be dancing in the first place, and that's just messed up. It's really just messed up. It's really teaching our daughters that they aren't really connected to Torah, and they aren't supposed to be really happy about the fact that we have a Torah. And there's I know no reason that the women shouldn't be dancing. Any Jewish reason, any hashkafic reason, any halachic reason, any ideological reason, and that's just messed up. Now, the question is more about dancing with the Sefer Torah, and that is already considered more liberal. And the question is there any halachic reason why women shouldn't be dancing with the Sefer Torah? And so the answer is not really. The answer is not really. So the source of this issue is words from the words of the Rama in Siman Peiches. The Shulchan Aruch says in Yerdei Siman Peiches. It's also in Hilchos Sefer Torah. The Shulchan Aruch says, the Yosef Karo says that a woman is allowed to hold the Sefer Torah. A woman is allowed to kiss the Sefer Torah. A woman is allowed to look at the Sefer Torah. She's allowed to read from the Sefer Torah. On that, the Rama, who's the Ashkenazi Pesach, says that there are those that say that a woman is not allowed to look at a Sefer Torah, and because a woman that is over 12 and got a period once in her life and didn't go to the mikvah, so she is tme'ah. She has spiritual impurity, and because she has spiritual impurity, so she should not be coming to shul. She shouldn't walk into a shul. She shouldn't. There was a custom. There are those that say, I don't remember who the Risha was, that there are those that say the woman should not enter a shul, and they shouldn't even look at the Sefer Torah even from standing outside the shul. Shouldn't come into the shul. Shouldn't look at the Sefer Torah. And certainly she shouldn't touch the Sefer Torah, and I get close to it. And he's arguing with the Shulchan Aruch. The Shulchan Aruch says the opposite, and the Rama says that nevertheless the halacha is like the first opinion. The halacha is like the Shulchan Aruch, that's actually permissible. Nevertheless, there are those that have the custom not to look at the Sefer Torah when actually during the days of their period. Okay? That is, there exists a custom not to look at the Sefer Torah, not to touch the Sefer Torah when they're actually getting their period. Okay, so this is a custom that exists in some places. So first of all, this doesn't exist for Sephardim. Okay, for Sephardim, that there's absolutely no. For a Sephardi shul not to allow women to dance with the Sefer Torah has no basis whatsoever, and even for an Ashkenazi shul, so this is not a halacha. This is a custom that some people have. Some people have there's also a similar thing, by the way, that for women to go to a cemetery. Okay, it's a similar thing because the cemetery has a lot of negative spiritual energy. So that's actually why there's at the entrance to the cemetery in Tzfas. That's why there's a mikveh at the entrance to the cemetery, because it was the thing that before you go to the cemetery, you have to go to the mikveh. Because there's this tuma in the cemetery, so you don't want to you don't want to if you're tummy and you're going to attract all this negative energy, so it's not good. So there are there's women that when they're actually getting the period, they don't go to a cemetery and they don't look at the Sefer Torah and they don't touch the Sefer Torah, they don't kiss the Sefer Torah and what's going around, and that is a custom. It's no more than a custom that some people have, that some families have, that some communities have, and it's not an obligation. It's not a halacha. And therefore, if you want to start a new community with new customs, so there is no halachic reason that it's not allowed to to allow the women to dance with the Sefer Torah.
But is that considering that there's no guys in the room, of course?
Of course.
Of course, there's guys in the room, but there's a mechitza.
Oh, okay. If the guys can't see, then it's okay.
We're talking about with mechitza. We're talking about a shul.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Okay. Okay. So that is what I wanted to speak about regarding shows. Okay. So basically shows could and should be much more symmetrical than they are. When it comes to rabbi, so there is what to be done, but I don't see it necessarily being. I think Mashiach is going to come before we have a woman rabbi, but of course could be that Mashiach will be a woman, like we discussed earlier.
Wow.
That'd be
a twist.
And if Sophie wasn't here, I would have said that I read many people saying that I don't think America is ready for a woman president, and like if non-Jews are not ready for that kind of leadership, so like usually the religious Jews are a little bit behind the secular non-Jews. So anyway, so probably that you can certainly have a woman that answers halakha questions, but to be the rabbi of a shul is probably not going to happen anytime soon, and she can never be a chazan, ever. Sorry, to say kaddish with a man is halachically okay, but if it's in a place that nobody does that and everybody's going to be making a scene, so then it's not okay.
What about like chazan in all women's environment?
And that's not the chal chazan. That's just like you're just
Chazanit.
If you're just leading Hallel, that's nothing. Like that.
You would do it,
yeah.
In medieval
And-
time, they would have a lady who would translate the tefillah for the other ladies who couldn't read.
Okay. Yeah.
She wasn't like leading the entire congregation.
The issue is simply a halachic thing. It's a halachic thing of when that the parts of davening that the chazan is being mitzi for, it's through her that the men are fulfilling their obligation. That is a halachic problem, not because she's second class, but because she is exempt, because she is not obligated in the mitzvah. Okay, so we didn't get to everything that we wanted to speak about today. I still want to talk about marriage and the Aguna crisis, as well as tzniut. So I have a feeling there's going to be another 2 classes. So stay tuned, and
That
see
was
you next
so
time.
good. Wow.
Thank you so much.